All right. The Alex Hormozi controversy has gone live, and haters are coming out from everywhere to give your 2 cents about Alex Hormozi. So now, if you don't know who Alex Hormozi is, he's probably one of the biggest names right now in the personal development slash entrepreneurship, how to, start with your from zero and build a multi-million-dollar business. And him and his wife are founders of acquisition.com. Now, I'm going to read his post that has over, I think, 80,000, not 80,000, 800 comments, 74 reposts. I saw multiple friends repost this and pretty much blast Alex for his definition as, actually, no, let me rephrase that. His post. And the thing I want to address is, and give you my take on, is the reason why people are getting so offended is that it really begs and asks the question, like, what does success really and truly look like? So if you don't know Alex, let me give you like the 15-second background. So that I know, and this isn't perfect, so to relax on this. I think he lost everything when he was in 2013, his first business. Let me just read his post, actually, because it says it right there. He says 2014, my second gym, United Fitness, 600K in revenue. 2024, my PE firm, acquisition.com, $250 million portfolio revenue. The secret? Now, this is where people get offended. I think this is a great opening, great social post, by the way. It gives you the quick before and after. He skips the whole the bankrupt. I don't know if he went bankruptcy, but he talks openly about how he was totally dead broke, putting his first piece of content out there. He figured out some things, and he ended up growing his business gym launch. I believe to 16 million in 1 year. I could be off on this, guys, just full disclosure. And then he sold it for multiple 8 figures. Okay. And his comments that are getting people just totally amped up and love to get your feedback on this. So comment in the comments. No distractions for 10 years, no meaningless purchases for 10 years, no clubbing for 10 years. I don't think I've been clubbing for 10 years. Maybe it's because I'm 49. No friends' weddings for 10 years. And you better start now, because it takes way longer than you think. Just win. Okay, so now what I want to say is a couple of things. One, I have 7 kids, father of 7 kids. So people always ask me the questions of like, how do you think about that? Now, full disclosure, I went through a period where I wouldn't listen to really anything Alex said in the beginning, because he definitely has that, I'm going to grind this thing out. I'm going to work 24 hours a day. You can't be a sissy to win at this game. Entrepreneurship and business is competition. Him and his wife, Layla, seem very happy together. They've chosen not to have children. So that gets a lot of criticism towards them as well. And that bro grind mentality right now, for a lot of people, is being criticized vehemently by a lot of people on my thread. So I wanted to address this because I think there's not just 2 sides of this. I think there's probably 3 to 5 sides of this. And I also think that it's easy. In our house, for example, I have 7 kids. As I said, my wife watches kids. We love having. I'm from 13 kids, and so when I went into this entrepreneurship thing, a big part of it was like, well, how do we build out? How do we create more freedom in life so we can spend it with the people we love? Now, the conflict that a lot of people are having is like, well, that's Alex's definition of success, and it's not mine. And so where's the damage in that? So I think there could be damage, and I'll tell you where I think that is. But I also want to say a couple of things that I missed out on. Number one is I missed out on multiple years of ignoring everything he was teaching because I was too caught up into his choices of how him and Layla decided to be married and live. The fact that he wants to work 18 hours a day and I don't, and that's my words, not his. But you could look at, but like I had a mentor once tell me, like you don't have to have the same exact values of every mentor you follow in order to get the knowledge and get the value from them. Does that make sense? And one of the things I would say, if you look at his, let me show you this, guys. If you look at his social and you just scroll down this, I mean, friendships based on business are much better than businesses based on friendship. That might make you like question, like, well, no, dude, I do business with friends. Well, he's not saying don't do business with friends, right? And then you look down here, everything he's saying is positive. It's winning mindset. It's grind it out. It's how to be number one. Oh, you guys probably can't. Can you see my screen? Yeah, you guys can see my screen, right? Let me make sure you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. It's all positive frame, right? Now, where the danger comes in, and actually, let me, before I talk about the danger, where there's just some perspective and grace for him is, I don't think there's anyone putting out as much good quality, tangible, actionable content on the internet right now than Alex Hormozi. Possibly Gary Vee, but Gary has a different angle, and Gary's putting out really good content. And for years, I thought Gary's just kind of, he yells and he's loud and he's kind of annoying. But if you actually listen to some of the stuff, he's right. And he's genius on so many levels. Now, so with Alex though, there's probably nobody who's redefined and changed so many of the markets. And in some ways, he's ruined the markets because he's helped so many people with his ability to generate leads. Hey, listen, if you don't get leads, you can't get conversions. And if that's the new bottleneck, you got to get conversions. Here's my sales framework. Every single imaginable thing that you could learn about selling high ticket, generating leads, how to hire people, how to run a business, he's giving away free on YouTube. It's actually brilliant. It's very easy to attack. It's very easy to shame. But guess what? The guy's killing it, okay, for what his life defines as killing it, okay? So now it goes, Ed, well, that's good for him, but that's not for me. Well, good. Now, so let's talk about you for a second, right? So if you go back to when I first learned success principles, Strangest Secret Changed My Life by Earl Nightingale. And he talked about like, what is success? And success is the pursuit of a worthy ideal or a worthy goal. And so you can actually look on this, it might be on my channel, just type in The Strangest Secret. It's one of the best audios, legendary of all time. It talks about the power of thoughts, power of words, and our ability to create the life that we want by pursuing our ideal. And one of the most important aspects of visioning out your strategic initiatives or goals is to ask yourself, like, number one, the first thing you gotta ask yourself is, what's important to me and what do I want it to look like? Okay. Now, guys like me, family, God, family, money has to be in that top 3 to 4. And the reason being is for me to enjoy the family and to provide for the family and to do what God has put me on earth to do for my family. I have to be the hunter in my ecosystem, and I need guys like Alex. I need guys like Gary. I need guys. What's the dude's name? he's a little crazy, the bald guy, sales dude. I don't always love every single tactic he uses about like grabbing guys' belly fat and stuff like that. That's not really a tactic I would use. But that's what he does. You know what I'm saying? And so that's their system. And so their value systems are different. Grant Cardone runs with a different value system. I didn't like Grant for a long time. But really maybe I didn't understand him. Then I watched a Lewis Howes video with him, and he explained how what drives him is when his father left him and his, I think, 2 brothers as a boy. And then it just created a different gear of, like he's always hustling, and we'll do a different video on that one. Not because of desire maybe to create, but maybe he's running out of fear, right? That was Grant's motivation and his worldview. So his drivers are totally different, right? When you years ago, I went through this I'm going to skip around a little bit, but this has a point. Years ago, I went through this Navy SEAL like 2-day event, Kokoro event. Yeah, that's my subtle way of bragging about how cool I am. No, but seriously, I was thinking about this morning when before this video, because I remember one of the instructors I could not stand. He was a former Navy SEAL. I thought he was kind of a tool bag, like a blowhard. I just thought he was like some of the other guys. I didn't mind the yelling, like that. None of that stuff bothers me. But this guy was all about himself. He kept talking about himself, where none of the other guys did that. And later, a couple months after that, I was with one of my really, really good friends who's one of the instructors. And we were, I'll keep his name out of it because I was talking about this other guy. And I said, I think he's kind of I don't like him. Like, and I kind of shared what I just shared with you. I think he was a blowhard. It was all about him. And my buddy said, but here's the thing. And he was a really big guy, really big guy. He's like, you need guys like that. And here's why. You need guys like that because those are the guys that are going to carry all the heavy stuff 20 miles where us guys don't. So you need these different tools in the equation. And I was like, man, that's actually an interesting way of putting it. And so why am I sharing that story? Because years ago I met Jocko Willink. It's a funny story, actually. I was in his gym. Didn't know it was his gym because I was interviewing Dominic Cruz that day. And Dom was training and he's like, hey, I'll be available at noon. Dom trains out of that gym. And he said, hey, yeah, you can go work out there. So I go work out there. I'm in the locker room and right next to me walks up Jocko Willink. I was like, Jocko, what's up, dude? And he's like, hey, what's up, man? And he couldn't have been nicer. Couldn't have been better. And he stopped. Probably busy day. I didn't realize his studio was like literally right in the bathroom. His studio, his recording studio for his podcast. That's one of the top podcasts in the world. Was in his studio. But what I experienced in that 10 minutes with Jocko is nothing but like one of the most humble, kindest, sharpest guys you'll ever meet. Now, here's why I share that. Not comparing Alex Hormozi and Jocko, but I am. They're built differently. Okay, wired differently. Jocko, in like a lot of his stuff, he talks about like I can't get up. I cannot in my current life, the way my life works, in the way I value things. I can't. I'm not the 4 a.m. guy. I'm just not. Maybe when I turn 55 and all my kids are out of the house, I'll become a 4 a.m. guy. I'm not. Okay. But for him, he's wired that way. And Jocko shares in one of his stories, and it's going to come back to Alex, by the way, because it's important to understand this. He talks about how he would go back and he would train, and he would always I think the right language was something to the effect of he knew that the bad guys were somewhere planning to kill him and to kill his people. So he was training for that. My dogs are barking, or someone just came in. Sorry, guys. He was training because he knew he had to be good enough to kill the enemy, right? I would never understand what that wiring is. I never would have to do that. That is a different worldview. And so now he's hardwired to operate in that model. That's a different framework than a guy who grew up in a very healthy family, 2 loving parents, married 50-something years, 12 siblings, South Side Chicago, Catholic school, always had food on the table. I had all those things, right? So, anyhow, my 2 cents on this post is this. Number one is this. I don't think there's anybody putting out as good a content as Alex. I think the danger. Now you want me to give you're going to kiss Alex's ass because you're just hijacking and clickjacking his name for this, right? No, I think there's a frame that has to be, and it's super important, that could be really dangerous for young men specifically, possibly young women. Okay. So I'm going to give you the advice I would give my son and daughters if they were going to study from Alex and Layla, right? I would say this. I'd say, look, hey, Mike, because one of my son's names, and Grace and I were speaking last night. She was on a webinar about high ticket sales. And I told her, I'm like, don't buy it. I'm like, you're about to be sold on high ticket sales. I'm like, and I really was thinking of Alex has like 3 hours on how to sell high ticket sales. I'm I'm forgetting the other dude has really good stuff on high ticket sales. And I've only done high ticket sales for like the last 20 years, except when I sold supplements. I guess it's low ticket. But what I would say is, hey, listen, when you go study under him and he talks about lead generation, he talks about this stuff, do his stuff verbatim, like replicate it verbatim. When he tells you to do something, why? Because his stuff works. Zero. Do not deviate until you've replicated the model. Okay. When he talks about staying out of clubs and drinking less and not doing this and not doing this and not doing that, I'm like, listen, bro, like, here's the reality. You don't want to let your 20s and 30s go away where like you don't have other outside stuff. But there's value in this, because the opposite is that so many people get lost because they turn to alcohol. And I mean, I could talk about 20 other things that are vices for men. And I'm going to talk about men specifically first. That, like, right now, you guys understand, like, this younger generation, especially a lot of these men, like, they're not needed in the workforce like they were, right? They aren't needed in the workforce like they were. I mean, I have a whole team of VAs that I pay $4,000 for a full team of media buyers and content people and web builders. So if somebody just spent $100,000 going to college and then they come out and they think that there's these jobs waiting for them and they get offered a $49,000, you can't live in for $50,000 a year. So the models that Alex is teaching, a lot of the guys that are teaching, that we teach, God bless. Like, this is the model. So I would say, hey, look, man, do his stuff verbatim. When it comes to value systems of life work and stuff like that, just be careful. Don't take this too ridiculous. Like, don't go unless you're wired that way. And I know, and I can see each one of my kids are all wired differently. Okay, they're all wired differently. But I think that, especially that age group of 23 to 27, when he talks about no distractions, meaningless purchases, isn't he right on that? Okay, isn't he right? I mean, I loved clubbing. I loved going out with my best buddies. I never did fantasy football. Now I have another friend that decided to just quit watching football because he realized it just sucked up all his days. But in our neighborhood, when I go and talk to people, blah, 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 we talk about how bad the Bears are. I mean, that's what we do. And then friends' weddings, I mean, that's kind of silly. I'd say there's probably some damage there that it's like, dude, oh, seriously. Now at the age of 50 or 49, I don't really like going to weddings. I don't want to go to weddings. I'd rather go out to a nice dinner with you or whatever. But my wife and I like to have fun with friends and people, right? We're in the model of raising kids though, too. So I would say, look, you got to separate the actionable tactical things that he's providing, because it's freaking world class. Okay. My buddy, I have a really good buddy. I'm going to keep his name out of it again, just because I don't know if he likes to be mentioned publicly anymore on things. One of the best martial artists in the world. Trains world champions left and right, pops them out. Like, they're winning medals more than anybody. And for my friends in BJJ and MMA, they would know who I'm talking about. He's wired so differently than me, like in some ways psychotically wired. But let me explain that for a second. Okay. When I say psychotically, I'm not saying that as a, if you want to be, the most elite people that I know are psychotically wired in a different way when it comes to performing at a ridiculously high level to attain their goals. Okay. And the person I'm talking about, I'm just going to say it, is Lloyd Irvin, because Lloyd is a guy that has a system, and I've interviewed him on the podcast before, where he wants his athletes to do a full, like, you're learning something, you're learning a move, blah, blah, blah. He wants everything from the grip to the transition, to the next transition, to the next transition, to the choke or the tap out, repped out minimally 5,000 times in the next 90 days. But ultimately, he wants them to do 10,000 reps. I can't do that. I'm just letting you know, right? My volleyball reps that took 10,000, I mean, I guess it didn't take as long as I'm about to make it sound, but like, That's elite level. Do you want to be a world champion framework? Right? Okay. Oops, did I just whack my thing? Hold on, guys. I got to change my connection because I literally just hit my cord. All right. Hold up. And I think I might have to change my thing. Hold on. Let me see. Start cam. Oh, there you are, baby. Here we go. I'm back. Anyhow, so that's an elite level thing. He's wired that way, right? Why? Because the framework comes from, I want to be a world champion. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to do it in the shortest amount of time. Like my book, Time Collapsing, right? Oh, there's my plug. Go on Amazon. The book's still good. It's a universal principles about how to get things done faster and easier. Time collapsing. But Alex is a time collapser. Now, has he found or have any desire for that balance? Is there trauma there? I don't know. He's just wired differently, bro. I got buddies that don't have kids. I and then I never ask them, hey, dude, why didn't you ever have kids? Maybe I should. Do I think it'd be great to have good people to have kids? Do I think we give them a new perspective? Absolutely. So let me just bang this out real quick. You need high-level achievers in different things, right? And you also need the opposite of that. You need the people that are like, well, my number one priority is family, and we build churches, we do these things. You need all of that yin and yang. And then guess what, folks? We get the blessing of putting all those pieces together and building out our own. What's important to us? Why is it important to us? What do I want it to look like? And then when you have guys like Alex, you can get those tools. Now, I want to say one last thing because I think this is important. This is super important for men. Okay. If you want to go be him, but you're not wired like him, you may end up falling short time and time again, leading to what could be just like learned helplessness, frustration, and this, I'm not good enough. Okay. My buddy, Chris Smith, former Navy SEAL, short black dude, fast as hell. I'll never be as fast as him. I'll never be as good as him. There's so many things I will not be like him. So I got to take the elements that I can learn from him and apply it to my life. I could list so many people that now in this different life, and maybe this is my different stage of life where I'm like, there's different than me, but now I get to have the luxury of learning their best stuff without adopting all of their stuff. And so I think that's where I'm going to end it. If you like it, I'd love to have your comments. Post them in here. If you like this format, let me know. And that's it, man. It's Friday. We got stuff to do. Happy holidays. Hope you're amazing. God bless. We'll talk soon. Bye.